Aaron reached out to us. We live in Dallas, Texas, in the Dallas, Texas area, and we are both art educators. I'm an arts administrator. I supervise about 100 art teachers, 72 campuses, 55,000-ish students. So in K through 5, all of our children receive visual art instruction. So right off the bat, 24,000 students right there getting visual art instruction, which is phenomenal. Very proud of our program, but it isn't without a lot of advocacy and a lot of effort. We are in a very what I would call arts-friendly area. However, Texas funding is a little wonky, and there's a constant need to stay ahead of the curve and make sure that you're fighting for the needs of students. So Matt and I are going to share a lot of things with you today. There were some questions about where we came from, so we're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves first. So this is us, all of us.
We are not only educators, but we are art educators, we're parents, and we're also advocates as well.
And we're sustained on coffee because we work a lot. So how did we get here? It's kind of a long story. We are married, by the way. So we're gonna share our little story with you. So that's a little bit about who we are and where we came from. It doesn't tell the whole story. I became an assistant principal in 2007, did that for about 7 years, realized that my heart and my energies were dying a little bit inside because I had to have art, but I also love leadership. So I feel like I'm in the best position I can be in, which is a mix of the two things. But in doing that, there was this time period, and I'm gonna let Matt talk to you a little bit about what would happen every day when I would come home from work.
So as I started teaching, I was teaching elementary school, K through 5. And I have been teaching, well, I should say I finished teaching elementary school for 14 years. Just finished my first year of teaching middle school last year. And so every day I would come home as Laura was an administrator, and I would have ideas. I would have things I'm like, okay, I need to try this. Okay, I need to bounce off this idea or that idea. And she was so exhausted from doing administrative work that she was just like, I need time. I need just to kind of decompress from the day or whatever was going on that day. So after, there was a time where we sat down and started talking, we realized that, I probably am not the only one who's, feels like they're teaching in a silo. And so we started, reaching out and started coming up with this, this idea of, how do we connect people? Because that's really what it's about. And so we realized that the more and more we connected, the more and more that inspired us, and that helped us to become better educators.
So that's kind of how it all started. We've kind of transformed even further from being just K-12 Art Chat to also being this creatively connected EDU, because what we're finding is that there are teachers outside of visual art that want to bring creativity in their classroom and need support and don't necessarily have it or know where to start. So one of the other things we're trying to do is get a lot of administrators into this understanding, because we know as arts administrators that we're not a tested subject area. And so therefore, they might not ever walk into the art room if everything's just fine in the art room, right? They're not getting any discipline calls or anything like that. So we want them coming in. We want them seeing all the amazing things our students are doing, all the problem solving and the connected learning we're doing. So we started with building a professional learning network, and we're going to talk about some different avenues for building a professional learning network, as well as different uses for social media, because there's so many platforms. Not all of them are the same, and not all of them are built for the same use. So our why is we really believe that we've got to collaborate and advocate, and that's really what it's all about. So we've included an infographic, and it kind of all starts with your goal, and we're going to walk through this infographic with you.
So the first step you have to do is you have to consider what's your purpose. What are you planning on doing with the social media? Because as Laura mentioned earlier, it's not, every platform of social media is not have the same use, the same purpose. Consider what your goal is, then pick the best platform for your goal. And if you're not sure what the social medias are, then we'll talk about them.
Yeah. So for us, the idea of collaboration is kind of our first goal, is how do we collaborate with other teachers? How do we build ideas? How do we build this network? If you're a teacher in Abilene, Texas, and you're the only elementary art teacher in the middle of nowhere, you need somebody to collaborate with. You might have a specials team that might be the PE teacher, it might be the librarian, those kinds of things, but it's not the same thing as having fellow art teachers, right? And then the same for, photography teachers that are singletons and things like that. You need that support. So the idea of Twitter was really foreign to us. We thought, no way, that's for nonsense, really. Kardashians, things like that. We really were not into this idea. And I had a younger teacher that was like, Laura, just try this. And I'm like, okay. So we started some chats, and we started getting involved in some chats and checking them out. This is linked, by the way, in your presentation. There are a lot of links back to articles and things. So this is linked. And this is just a general idea of what an ed chat or a Twitter chat is about. And it's a short time period, usually 30 minutes to an hour, where you're connecting around one topic area and you're discussing it in live time with peers and colleagues, and you're getting their input. So my perspective as an educator from Texas might be completely different than Don from SoCal. And that's the brilliance of it. He's going to give me ideas and insight that I wouldn't necessarily have ever had in a pre-global sense. You know what I'm saying? There's just this global connectedness that we can have now that we never could have before. Matt and I constantly find teachers from Singapore, Australia, Taiwan, a lot of the Asian countries, Abu Dhabi, all kinds of places that jump in on our chat, depending on the time zone and how it all works out. But their perspective is so valuable to us. We have some tips for getting in a Twitter chat, and really, it's just take your time and pay attention, and don't feel like you have to say something at first. You can just find out what time the chat is. So most states, state organizations like our Texas Art Education Organization, a lot of the states have their own Twitter chats, that kind of thing. So you just go on and you find out when those Twitter chats are, and you go on there. Our art chat is on Thursday nights at 8:30, which would be 6:30 your time. So that might be dinner time, might be a little hard. But you go on there and you just start participating. And the first thing you can do is called lurking, which is just to watch what's going on, that kind of thing. And then just interact and share.
A hashtag is where you find your conversation, and it's basically how you can kind of filter into your conversation. I want to find something about design thinking, so you look up that. I want to find something about, color theory or whatever. You can literally search a conversation just by that. So we have this hashtag of K-12 Art Chat. So it will lead into other conversations. It'll lead you into other people that you'll then start following and start getting more and more insight. So
make sure you always include the hashtag when you're in a chat, so that your information is seen by everyone that's following that chat at that time. So the other thing is be concise, be brief. You only have 280 characters. If you abbreviate, that's great. Do whatever you need to do, but it doesn't have to be an essay. You're just sharing information. Don't sweat the grammar, clearly. I won't say anything political, but lots of people are not worried about grammar at this time. So Sharing, I think it's important to know that when you are sharing pictures and web links, it's not taking up your characters, your 280 characters. So you want to share those out, sharing articles and other information. And as we know, visuals are hugely important. So making sure to get that out, that's a great way for your PLN, your professional learning network, to, oh, I remember seeing a picture that Cassie posted or Trevor posted, and I'm going to go back and look at that and read more about it. And again, just enjoy, take your time, lurk first, jump in at any time, connect with people. And when we say connect, if there's something that, if you see like somebody that's got the same message that you're thinking or that's on that same mission, like I know this morning, Matt and I told Dawn, we were just like, yeah, because so much of what we believe is, you want to connect with those people. So you want to follow those people so that you can have that uplifting, positive conversation. And that's really what it's about, is building a positive place to grow. So Instagram. So I see Instagram as a really great place for advocacy first. It's a way to, because it is so visual and there's less ability to collaborate necessarily, it's where if you are an art teacher or you're a fine arts teacher, performing arts teacher, you need to have an Instagram account for your school, however you want to call it. You need to get with your administration and find out how they want you to do that. But you need to have something where you're posting what those kids are making, what they're creating. You need to have a place where you allow your students to shine, because that's the world we live in. And you're going to bring your community into your school and into your environment when they're seeing that. It's great. And I want all of my teachers to have tons of art in the hallways and to even try to get it in the community. But the magnitude that you can easily achieve with Instagram is beyond anything you could do by hanging artwork in a hallway. So with that said, I really think you need to build your school or your class brand, whatever you want to call it. You need to think about how does that attract your community into your classroom, and what story are you telling with that? And we're going to talk about your story a little bit more in a minute. So again, the Instagram, you can follow hashtags just like you would in Twitter. And so part of that is thinking about what would your Twitter be or your hashtag be, not only your handle, but what would your hashtag be for your community? So that when your parents and your administrators are looking for art, what's the hashtag they're gonna look up? And is that a district-wide hashtag that you all use? Is that a classroom hashtag? Is that something your students are gonna use? You have to think through all of those things. And that's why I also suggest that you talk to your administration. Our school district has some rules around that. We have some media releases. That's something I worry about a lot, as I see a lot of teachers posting students and their faces and things like that. You need to know what your liability is in that from your school district, from your administrators. I'm just putting that out there. We have releases that's on our emergency contact release at the beginning of the year, and we know students that are what we call redlined. We cannot show their picture. We cannot show their artwork. We cannot show anything about them. So you need to know that those kinds of things. Protect yourself while you're advocating. So I'm advocating for advocating, but I'm also advocating for you taking care of yourself, okay? I think that the art teachers of Instagram or the art teachers on Instagram is a great place to see things. You need to use your discernment, and you need to decide what fits your pedagogy. Not all of it is stuff that I would say is awesome, but you are all educators and you can figure that out for yourself. So Facebook is another place. Now, Facebook is collaboration and advocacy, because a lot of your parents, depending on their age, are going to be on Facebook and they're going to be looking at your school's Facebook pages, correct? Yeah. But it's also a place to collaborate. If your school district, like our school district I have a secret group for my 100 art teachers. It's a secret group. It's a private group, just so that it's stuff about art things going on within our district, not the larger art teachers Facebook page group, those kinds of things. The thing I am wary of on Facebook is I feel like it also can become, because it's unlimited, it can become a lot of ranting and a lot of bashing and like not happy things. So just be aware of that for if you're collaborating on Facebook, just be mindful. I mean, Matt and I are really big advocates on supporting and collaborating and growing and being positive at all times. Think about having a page for your school or your art studio with your students, those kinds of things. Because to me, this is advocacy, having a page, and then a group is collaboration for you to grow. Pinterest, again, collaboration and advocacy, because you can share boards, you can talk to each other, you can send things to each other, all kinds of ideas, those kinds of things. But you can also pin your students' artwork and have a whole thing there for advocacy of your program. I've been playing with Pinterest a little bit more in the last 5 days, and it's been updated a lot. And I was like, wow, I can connect it to my Instagram, and I can connect it to my Twitter, and in my wow. Some really cool stuff going on with Pinterest. So just check it out and think about it. There's us on Pinterest. Keep going. So I love podcasts. I tend to listen to things that my children can't listen to, my headphones on. But I love them because for us, so our podcast, this is our podcast. It's called The Creatively Connected Classroom, and it grew out of the chat. So we have this little chat on Thursday nights. We have these great guest moderators that come on there that are artists and teachers and authors and amazing educators. And it's nice on Twitter, but it's nicer sometimes to be able to have a live conversation and then record that conversation and everybody can hear it. So, there are tons of educational podcasts out there that I would highly recommend listening to and connecting to.
We as educators and as parents came up with the idea to only keep it to about 30 minutes because we all know time is very precious, especially with your families, your spouses, and just time in general. So we decided that we were going to keep it under 30 minutes. And so most of the time, most of our conversations have been, reasonably that 30-minute time frame. So, it's...
Well, I think all of this... All of the things that we like to share are time sensitive because, again, if you saw the picture at the front, 3 kids, 2 big full-time jobs, and this, and wanting to still grow, you have to have little chunks. You have to chunk it, just like we would for kids, right? So anything we can do at the convenience of our home, or in the car driving, or anything that's short and inspiring, that's what we want for all the educators that connect together. So more tips for advocacy, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about our school district at this point. So Matt and I teach in Plano ISD, and again, it's a fairly large suburban, becoming a little bit more urban school district, and tremendous amount of diversity. Toyota, we have a lot of big corporations like Toyota, Fossil, State Farm, tons of insurance, Omaha Mutual, JCPenney, just the list goes on, Kinko's, FedEx. So it's an interesting place to be. It's very diverse. We have a lot of transplants. I think people, we have a good friend from California. The first time she came out, she's like, I really didn't expect this because it's not that different than LA in a lot of ways. It's sprawling, And we have it all from $1 million homes to kiddos that are sleeping in not great conditions, So we want to do whatever we can to get equal access to the arts for all of them. So branding is really what I've been targeting with our school district and really trying to brand our visual arts program and our fine arts program. And when I say branding, I mean a consistent look so that if you see PISD creates art, that's Plano, and we're called independent school districts, that's what that is. Plano Independent School District is creating art, and that's how you can find it, that's how you can see us. And I want everybody to be involved in that in the community. So the branding has increased involvement in our program and our profile. We've had a lot more community partners, Atmos Energy, paying for receptions, different things for our kids. I want awesome experiences for our students. So anything we can do to find funding for that is what I'm gonna do. And in this case, it's a lot of social media and connecting. So we've had a lot of increased donations, which has been nice. So I always ask myself why. That's where I always start with everything. Why am I doing this? Because going back to the time issue, I don't have time to waste. So what's my why? What am I trying to accomplish by building a brand? And so if you're thinking about building a brand for your school district or your school or your students, why? What are you wanting to accomplish by that? Who are the people you're intending to serve and elevate with that brand? Who is your audience? Are you targeting community? Are you targeting your corporate entities? Who are you targeting? And what specific needs are you trying to accomplish? So am I trying to find funding for students to have access to a super Saturday where they're going out and doing raku? I don't know, whatever it could be. And then what other questions do I need to continue to ask myself? And then I also consider for us in our school district, everything's about our vision and mission. So what is the mission? What's our purpose? Our mission statement says that we are trying to build creative thinkers, foster critical thinking and creative confidence. And that's my mission. That's what I'm trying to do. And the second part of that mission is to allow students to shine through the demonstration of their learning. So how can I do that through branding? And so what are the benefits and features of your fine arts program? So also think about, what have I already got going for me? What are the great things that we're already doing? What is the community already think about our program? Are they engaged? Are they not engaged? Who can support me in this? This isn't a one woman or one man show. You need a community behind you. So what do they already think, and who's going to be there to help you? And what qualities do you want to associate with your fine arts program? Excellence, So consistency is key. For me, that means the look, the logo, the message, the story, and the hashtag. Okay, so for us, and I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't design these logos. So, okay, but this is our lobster hands. I love you, Plano ISD. Been there for 17 years. I'm not going anywhere. But this is our district logo. So, that's my starting place, okay? So the color scheme, the idea, that's kind of where we start. So even on our display tags for our school district, every teacher has this in a template. They go into our Google Drive and they just have to insert the student's name and the title, and they're good to go. And so look, all of our tags match, and they all have the logo on it. It's awesome. So every time we're hanging artwork, it matches. Anytime I send out news updates, red and white, it's that idea of making it consistent. So I do work in the fine arts department. I'm a very lucky woman in that the fine arts department consists of a visual arts coordinator, a theater and speech coordinator, an instrumental coordinator, and an elementary and choral coordinator. So we have a nice little department. So I also, because this is kind of just who I am, we try to be consistent with our hashtags. So it's PISD creates art, PISD makes music, PISD acts, PISD speaks, and the new one this year is Plano ISD proud. So, and that came from our communications department. So from a show of hands, do any of you have communications departments in your school district? Good. Hopefully it's good. We're going to talk about that in a minute. You can make it good. I'm going to show you how. We're going to give you about 2 minutes or maybe one. Turn and talk to your partner about, do you have a classroom hashtag or a studio hashtag or a district hashtag? And if you don't, what would it be? So find somebody near you, and for about a minute, think about what that hashtag might be.
Would anyone be willing to share a hashtag or a handle that they may already have for their advocacy piece, for their program? Yes, ma'am.
I have one that says DVHS art. So it's just
I know you. Wow.
And then we created like a hashtag for art in the district. And then so the other high schools all have like VHS art, and then we share the same hashtag. So if we have like a joint exhibit, we click on that hashtag. And we tag our superintendent all the time, as he shows up too. So we just keep plugging on there.
Keep chipping away.
Yeah. You know what?
Exactly.
It'll crack. Yeah. We'll get there.
They will crack. And here's the other thing. If they don't come, I've had many administrator for better or worse, I've just been moved to the admin building. But I didn't realize people were watching me as much as they were. And so for better or worse, they will notice. They will, I promise. Yes, ma'am.
That's so true, because I started tagging the district because they had no idea I even existed, and then they came to me and said, hey, can you do 150 placemats for our dinner? And so we were like, sure we can.
Because that's advocacy. That's excellent. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to introduce you to a game changer right now for you and your students. All right? Adobe Spark. That's this one right here. Okay? And when you get this presentation, it's linked. There's a little how-to, and here's the link for Adobe Spark for educators. And then there's Canva, which is a different program for educators as well. So Adobe Spark, there's Spark Post, Spark Video, Spark, what else? You can do web pages. It is unbelievable, and it's free for you and your students. And it's awesome, you guys. So it's super easy to use. If you have a Google district, it interacts with your Google seamlessly. You log in our district, we log in with our Google account. So it is amazing. The point being is that you can create some awesome visuals to put on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook within seconds, okay? Because it has an app function, so I use it on my phone and my iPad all the time. I love the app, but you can also use the web version on your Chromebook if you have to use a Chromebook. You heard the tone in that? Okay. So I'm not a fan of Chromebooks. So, but you can use a web version on any platform, and Adobe Spark is just, to me, really honestly, guys, it's a game changer with your kids. Everything. So you can make videos. So the video you saw at the beginning, the little video of the Grunlers, we made that in Adobe Spark. And I made it within 10 minutes. Not even. It's that fast. It's very easy to use. It's very easy to upload pictures. It's very easy to make graphics. I'm going to say this quietly. I don't use Photoshop anymore. I don't have time for it. I use Adobe Spark and I use Canva. That's where I make all our graphics. So I do graphics, I do web stuff, everything for the branding for the district, and for Matt and I, we use Adobe Spark and we use Canva. Canva was what I used before Adobe Spark. I use them about 50-50. I love them both, but I just want you to have that tool for making amazing graphics to save yourself time. It's presentations, it's JPEGs, it's PNGs, it's everything. I do inspirational quotes on my Instagram all the time with it. Now Adobe Spark has animations in there. It's separate. It's separate, but it's free for educators. So yeah, you definitely want to check it out. So again, I'm going to talk a little bit more about video because video has been a big thing for our brand. But I do like the Adobe Spark video making. It's really fast. It's something that you can make a video and then put it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook really fast, really easily. A lot of my teachers have YouTube accounts. Matt's a really great iMovie guru. So these are all ways to make videos. Keep them short, keep them visual. People don't want to watch anything more than a minute. That's my advice on that. So this one's a little longer, and I'm going to make you watch it. Remember how I said, do you have a relationship with your communications department? I have been fostering that relationship. You know, not all relationships and advocacy happen through social media. You really have to go do some footwork and get to know people. So, you know, I've worked really in collaborative partnerships with our communications department, and in turn, it's kind of been really great because they have really made some amazing videos of some of the things we've done. So I'm going to start with a partnership. We have Fossil handbags, watches, that kind of thing. They're in our area. And so I had a collaborative partnership with them to do a project, and they made a video. So I'm going to show that to you real quick.
We We've been working together with my students and with Fossil to collaborate on a project to hang for the kids to look at and be inspired by.
We learned that each grade was a different type of cat, culminating in the lion for 5th grade, and so we thought that was a good motif to play off of, and there would be lots of opportunities with the lion's hair to do something really bold and colorful.
Using the resources that we have within Fossil. We thought a lot about how we wanted to do recycle or repurpose materials. We're using about 6,000 straps from excess inventory to create the mural.
I thought it was really important that the students become a part of the mural. So my 5th grade through 2nd grade students got to create popsicle sticks. And then Fossil found a way to incorporate it into the mural so that they could be a part of it.
They're going to be a beautiful border around the artwork.
Getting to see how cool this project is, using something that would have been thrown out anyway, the recycled wristbands, that paired with imagination and technology and creativity and teamwork is really inspiring. It's something that the kids are going to be so excited to see when they walk into our building every single day.
They had full faith in our idea, and we're just real excited that we could contribute something creative and original to the school.
Because a piece of artwork can transform a space, it gives the kids a sense of that transformation, and they get to see it live and happening and be a part of it. It was wonderful to see them come by and get excited and ask how many colors are in it and what's it made out of. It looks like Legos.
We wanted the students to understand how important it was to be individuals, to really understand that they can stand out in anything that they do, and they have a piece of this. So every time they walk by, they're going to feel like they're part of this.
Seeing all of these people giving up their time and their service to do something that makes a difference in the lives of the kids and teachers, I think is just amazing, and we're so grateful.
I'm speechless with what they did. It's perfect for our kids. It's going to brighten their day. I love the quote by Dr. Seuss as well. It's awesome to let them see this, that they can be a part of a bigger piece of an awesome thing.
I just want to thank Fossil for all that they've done, for being a community partner and really walking hand in hand with us through this project. They have made this so personal to our students. This is something that's going to last for years and years. And when our seniors come back to visit, they're going to be able to say that they were part of this.
Knowing that people care about you is so tremendous. It's just been a really fulfilling partnership on all sides. They're just so giving. I can't thank Fossil enough.
Thank you, Fossil.
Thank you, Fossil!
So again, having that partnership with our communications department, this was an outside project that I just helped facilitate from the background, linking Fossil to the campus and those kinds of things, and then going to our communications department and telling them the story. Because a lot of things we do are narratives, they're stories. This was a transformational event. Those kids got to see this in process, and then they got to see the team from Fossil come in, and they got to ask the Fossil team questions, and there was a whole story there. And I can't tell that story by myself, so I need the communications department to help me tell that story and get that out to the message to the community. There's a couple other videos here. I want to show one more real quick. Is that okay? Okay.
Going with the district theme this year of Unfold Your Future, we got together as a group of teachers at our professional development how we could create something that symbolized unfolding your future. The idea of the fortune teller that you would use as a kid, you open it up and look at a tab and it says 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you go from there and it tells you who you're going to marry or whatever. So we decided we were going to create some sort of installation using the fortune teller. We just didn't quite know what. So we had to come look at the space which we're at here now, and we just sort of started joining the fortune tellers to create just a sculptural movement. It's kind of what we teach kids in art every single day. We're giving you this thing to create. How do we get the pieces to a join? And so it takes a lot of problem solving, and the hang-ups really come in from the accidents that kind of come along the way. How do I hang a 24-foot thing of paper? You know, how many people have done this before? How do we hang it in this space? If we're going to get it to probably about 20 feet, 18 feet in the air, we're trying to figure out how the strings will work with this properly. The light from the skylight should show through this and create some forms and lines that'll be really pleasing to the eye. And so that's when it's really at its best, is when it's hung up. Every art teacher in the district at professional development sat down and was holding the fortune tellers. One of these is theirs. Definitely it's a district project, which I think kind of brings it back full circle of unfolding your future between the dialogue between the teachers and the students.
So as you can see, some of our advocacy is the real deal. Like, you know, we're out in the community, we're making art, we're doing collaborative projects in different spaces, you know, including students and teachers and getting everyone involved. But as a one-woman show, as the visual arts person, I can't tell the story by myself. I need Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I need my communications department. I need all of those things to keep our arts program at the forefront of what we're doing, and so that they understand the curriculum too. That the curriculum is not just this, we're gonna go copy a bunch of blue cats, that it's that we are going to problem solve, and we're gonna think critically, and we're gonna make all of these connections, and we're gonna connect them to who we are in place and time, and humanities, and science, and math, and all of those things. So that's what this is all about. So, you know, it's funny, if you would have asked me 5 years ago about social media, I would have been able to say nothing. And now I feel like I could take a job as a social media manager somewhere. And it's just because I believe so passionately about the program that we have and the things that our students are doing, and I want them to shine, and I want that continued funding for them. And again, I still do the old school posters. I make posters for everything, and I use Adobe Spark to make posters, and I use Canva to make posters, and these go up throughout the district. So we have exhibits all the time. We pretty much hang exhibits year-round, about every 6 weeks in 3 different venues. So again, we're a big district. There's 100 teachers. It's not, you know, so I got to get the message out. I want people to come see that work. So if you have questions, and we'll take questions here in a minute, but also you can find Matt and I very easily on social media. These are our handles, and we have a website, and you can email us as well.
Like, I know just from work, I am not on Twitter. Sure. But I know admins on Twitter. Right. A lot. I'm on Instagram. I can link it, but what I've found is that
There's no visual.
it doesn't bring my picture over.
They have to go over to Instagram.
So
I don't know where
and I
on
don't
that.
think they're doing that. So I wonder
They're
if
not over by the
there's
same.
a home place to start that can just hit all 3 at the same time. Because I know Instagram can hit them both, but it takes my picture off.
Okay, I will take this question. There is this thing, it's called Hootsuite. Hootsuite, Hoot, H-O-O-T, suite. Like, you know, a suite. And what that does is that becomes your manager for multiple social media accounts, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I usually take a little chunk of time to do that each week for the whole week. That way it helps me to just kind of keep everything. That way I don't have to do it day by day. That way I'm not burning extra time. I've done that before, and it is a pain. So the best thing to do is to be able to manage it and manage it that way, and you can connect all those images, and I'm pretty sure we get most of the images. I mean, we've got our Facebook account that I link to, as well as Instagram, and the images pop right up and into Twitter. So yeah, without any problems. Hootsuite.
On that and just have
Yep. You link all of your social media accounts. You're making one post, and you can connect it to all 3 of those platforms, and then it's just boom, done. So, and you can schedule it to go out, 2 hours from now, 3 days from now, a week from now. So
Matt sits down every Sunday morning for our advocacy as Team Brunler, not as Plano ISD. And so everything we're doing for K-12 Art Chat and Creatively Connected, he sits down every Sunday morning for 2 hours and gets it all done for the whole week. Yes.
So you're timing your posts to come out like at peak viewing time?
Yeah. So that way you tend to get more. I mean, I usually, since there's 3 different accounts, there's my account, Laura's account, and our Creatively Connected account. I have one that gets posted in the morning, one that gets posted in the afternoon, and one that gets posted in the evening, because of the knowing people and who we're connected to when they're going to view it. Because we're Central Time Zone, we're, the people here in California are not going to maybe see the ones that are early in the morning. They're going to probably see the one that's in the afternoon, and the people on the East Coast aren't going to see the ones that it's in the noon. They might see the one in the evening. So we try to hit all 3 areas.
Yeah, and if you're a teacher, you're thinking about, you might check your social media at lunch, or if you're an admin, when are they going to check their social media? Well, after school, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. It's being an admin's a different world. But you definitely want to think about the timing for sure. I always think about, like, if we're for K-12 Art Chat, we're targeting teachers. So I try to think, 11:45 is about lunchtime. They'll probably sit down and check their phone then, that kind of thing. Yes.
I have a question. I'm on Facebook for our teacher staff, and I run Google Classroom for the district, and I'm like, why don't you do a Google site from Google? And, okay, so it's just like a web page.
Yeah.
Well, how does that tie into Instagram? Would a Google site be very different from an Instagram page? Like, I shouldn't even worry about the Google site?
So, I mean, the Google site is just a web page. So like getting your traffic there. It's like the social media is going to bring the people to your Google site. Like, so if I'm on Instagram and I see, what's your school's name? Canyon High School. If I see Canyon High School art, and I'm like, ooh, I really like her sculptures that she's doing in ceramics. I'm going to look in your profile and see that you have a website, and then I'm going to go look at your website. Because of Google, yeah, it is. Well, and that's why I said in the beginning, you have to think about your goals. What are you trying to do? And don't overwhelm yourself. Pick one, start there. Matt and I started with Twitter, just because for us it was all about professional development. And I wasn't thinking about the advocacy and what I could do for my school district. That came later. Just start where you're comfortable. If you're comfortable on Instagram, start there. If you're comfortable on Facebook, start there. Start where you are and then start collaborating with other people that are on other things, and you'll figure it out. But just be open to it and realize that the more you get your students' artwork out there, the more traction you're going to get from the community, and hopefully the more financial interest and help you're going to get.
I teach elementary, and this past year my administration embarked on using Seesaw.
Oh yeah.
Which is like a closed network.
Yep.
Posting. What are your thoughts and how you blend the two, or do you advocate for non-closed network posting?
No, I think both. I think, again, it's one of those things, like we live in it very much depends on the district and what your policies and procedures are. So yeah. You really need to look at your policies and procedures in your district, number one, about the closed versus open. Number two, I think that I'm going to talk from a parent standpoint right now, of a mother. I have 3 elementary kids. Well, I have a 7th grader now. Ooh, I forget that he's not in elementary. So my 2 little girls are still in elementary. I would love all of their teachers to use Seesaw. I've played with Seesaw. I think it's amazing. I would like to see evidence of their learning in real time every single day. I think it is a huge tool. So I'm working on getting Seesaw for our district. I'm not there yet. Costs money. You can use it for free, but then everything at the end of the year goes poof and it's gone. So, and I'm a little leery of that, because I want, if I go into it for art at least, I want it to be a portfolio of their work from the time they're in kindergarten through 12th grade. You know, wouldn't that be cool to see growth over time? That would be amazing. So it's kind of, it's extra, but at the same time, the onus is on the kids with Seesaw. They're the ones doing the uploading and all that stuff. You're doing very limited of that, so. Yeah. Right. So, you know, I don't know. I think, again, who are you targeting? What's your audience? Seesaw is great for parents and getting your parents involved. I mean, I think it's a phenomenal tool, actually. I didn't mean to just do a plug for them. Sorry.
On the same kind of thing, do you know Artsonia?
We do know Artsonia. We cannot use Artsonia because it is a fundraiser. So we cannot tie our, going back to policies and procedures, it is a fundraiser, it is not curricular. It doesn't work that way. I mean, because then it's a gray area and I have to get it approved through my school district and they see it as a fundraiser. So, but I think it's a good tool too. Yeah, not my teachers. We have, they said no. No, not Artsonia. Our school district won't let us. It's our district won't let us. Yeah.